on with Kristen Van Nest, who decided to join us today. I'm still thankful for you. Reached out to you on social media, and you are a little bit of everything. I want to say amazing, along with a writer, an actor, a VO, comedian, director. I'm like, oh my God, the list of things going on in this woman's resume. You got a lot.
Yeah, I love storytelling. That's maybe the one common theme. So yeah, I write, act,
Cool.
direct. I wrote, acted, and directed sketches for a YouTube channel, Night Pants.
Okay.
And I also do funny characters and personal essays. And so yeah, I do kind of like
Fun,
all the comedy stuff.
fun. So how, okay. So I don't want to like totally ignore the subject, but today we are going to be talking about something different as opposed to what the world is talking about just
Yeah.
slightly for a minute. Snapping back from the effects of social media on our young girls. But I do want to know, and I'm interested in how like Hollywood is affected with the whole like coronavirus and stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, everything shut down, because productions are so many people. So it's not safe to produce any shows. So writers' rooms are still happening
Okay.
remotely, but a lot of like late night shows they can't really do, or they're doing without any audience.
Right.
And so a lot of the writing is still happening, but there's no casting, there's no production.
Okay.
Um, and then, yeah, it's pretty tough, especially for actors right now, just because to act, you need to interact with other people. Um,
Totally.
so so I have some like I was in actually a video this week that went viral. It has over 1.2 million views on Twitter that my friend posted. Who's it's just a bunch of actors. We did like a speech from Hereditary. We're just kind of
Oh,
making fun of the celebrities who did the like Imagine song.
okay.
That's on my Twitter if anyone wants to check it out.
Okay.
And then I'm reading like some scripts with other actors, but the problem is that the theaters are closed, and a lot of those theaters, and as comedians as well, like Upright Citizens Brigade is the largest improv and sketch school in LA, and that closed and fired all their staff. So,
Wow. Really?
yeah,
That
they fired.
quickly?
Hmm. Yeah.
Interesting.
So, it's really a lot of theaters weren't doing well already just because economically people don't go out as much. And with this, they may shut down permanently. It's still
Mm,
unknown. And so it's really hard for actors because, they can't perform on stage, they can't do their craft. And then a lot of them do service jobs, which are
right.
also all gone. So they've lost their creative outlet and they've lost their income. So it's pretty tough right now. And then a lot of the agencies, because no one's casting anything, you can't really. So
Mm,
Endeavor, Paradigm, a lot of the agencies have fired a lot of their assistants and people. Yeah, so it's a pretty tough
wow. So they
situation
made
right
a pretty
now.
quick call.
Yeah, I mean, the mayor says that we'll be closed for a minimum of at least 2 more months. So that's zero income and kind of zero work and all these people on payroll. So
Yeah,
it's
that's a
been
lot.
a pretty big shutdown here, which is,
So are you
yeah.
glad that you picked up the writing? Because writing,
Yes.
you could still do that.
Yes. So I have a lot more free time to do writing, which
Yeah.
is great. And I'm grateful for my situation and that I have writing
Right.
that I can do. So,
Totally.
yeah,
Voice work.
it's a really crazy and kind of beautiful thing. And I'm excited. I think a silver lining is that, people can collaborate over the internet and people can create kind of cool projects that way. So,
Totally. And
yeah.
while we're on the internet, that's exactly what we're talking about is social
Yeah.
media and the impact of internet and how you can basically use the internet in a positive way and or a negative way. There's articles that I sent you about young girls, high school girls who are like affected by the internet, um, and wow, now that this is going on, I feel like it's probably gonna continue to happen, because where else is everybody gonna, perform their stuff on the internet? So it's like it's gonna continue the wave of like this impression on young girls who are like, what should I be on the internet? Who do I want to be? Or do I have to live up to some sort of expectation? Like, do I have to look a certain way? You know, um, I was supposed to talk to a group of high school girls last week in my hometown, actually. And because of everything, I had to cancel my flight. But I was like really empowered to do it. And then, like, in the midst of all of that personal story, is that I had a friend that like said something to me like, girl, you need to wear more makeup and you need to like get some teeth whitening, whatever. It's just petty stuff, right? However, I just felt the heavy weight of that. Like I wasn't affected, or like, of course, yeah, of course, it probably hurts your feelings a little bit, but I was more or less like, damn. I like it just made me think of society as a whole. And I was like, is that what's happening? Like, I know it's been
Yeah.
happening, but like, really? Like, that's how you feel, you know? And so I just, it became a topic on my social, and people like really weighed in on it because people felt heavily about it, I guess. Like, oh my God, that's so mean, da da da, you know? And I was like, I don't mind because I'm in my late 30s. Like, I'm all good, right? But
Hmm.
like a young girl who's coming up in high school, 15, 16, you know what I'm saying? And then it's like you have to deal with the social media impact in that way, like what to live up to, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a woman who does comedy. So,
Love
um
it.
I get constant when I do it's political stuff, it really brings out the worst people. But
Mm,
I'll get like, "Oh, are you pregnant?" or like comments like that about my looks. And I'll get like men who are just like, "You're not funny." And I don't think
mm,
that male comics have to deal with that. Maybe people will be like, "You're not funny," but male comics definitely don't have to deal with like
right.
people telling me I'm pregnant, or like, I'm not pretty, or don't flatter
Wow.
yourself. You're not that good anyway. Like, why are you on this
Wow.
career path? I had an article on Medium that I wrote, a personal essay go viral called What Happens When You're Stuck on a 13-Hour Flight with Your Online Dating Troll. And it's a true story where this guy on OkCupid like wanted to go ask me, like, hey, how are you? But he lived so far away from me. I was living in Shanghai at the time and he lived in Hangzhou, which is
Okay.
like an hour train ride outside the city. Like it would probably take me 2 hours to get to him.
Mm-hmm.
So I just didn't
Right.
respond because I was just like, oh, I don't know this person and I'm just not going to respond. And so then he wrote back because I didn't respond. By the way, don't flatter yourself. You're not that pretty anyway.
Of course.
Which, like, again, like for me, it was just such a rage. Like I was in a rage. And then I think it was maybe a year or two later. Of course, the universe plays tricks on us. I'm on a 200-person flight from Chicago back to Shanghai. Guess who was in the seat right next to me? It
No.
was him. Yeah. And I figured it out because the little picture on his login on his MacBook was the picture on his dating profile.
No kidding.
And
That's
I wouldn't
scary.
remember who he was if I hadn't been in such a fit of rage because of how rude he was to me.
Right, right,
And
right.
so we didn't talk about it on the flight, but it was like 13 hours sitting next to this person who I just hate so much because obviously they don't respect women and they say
Right.
nasty things. But I think people feel that they can hide behind the internet and that it's not, that like as if what you say on the internet, you would, if you tried to say some of the things people say to someone's face, you
No,
wouldn't feel comfortable saying it. And
no.
so people hide on the
And
internet.
because you go across cultures like Russia and Asia, or Russia and China, they compare in this particular article I sent to you from abc.net that talks just specifically about, I guess like, the way culturally some of these places expect their women to look, right? Like in Russia and China, it's like very physical attributes. Like it's all about like physical appearance, and you know, just the differences in, like you said, like they kind of shape our culture, right? Like social
Yeah.
media shapes our culture and like the dynamics of it. So you may see somebody from all the way across the country, right? But they look a certain way, they have a certain appeal to them, and you're like, you know, like where or how can I be that person, as these young girls may be like looking on social media to
Oh,
figure out
yeah.
what their identity is, you know?
Yeah, when I lived in China, there it's considered beautiful to be very pale, but here it's considered very beautiful to be very tan. So I, was shopping one day and I bought a scarf and I was like, "Oh, it's so pretty." And then the shopkeeper comes up and like, "Oh, you look so pale." And I'm just like, she's trying to compliment me, but in my mind I'm like, "Oh, I
Oh,
don't want this scarf to make me look pale." But she thinks she's giving me a compliment, she's trying to tell me that I look beautiful,
wow.
but it's a cultural difference. Yeah, so I mean, it's just different by culture as well.
Yeah, totally, totally. But I think this is overall super good information, and I hope that it helps some of the young women coming up on social media. I think you're a great influence in what you do. Hopefully, you can still continue to write like amazing, pieces that will inspire, young women or women as a whole that can shape us that sort of different character, right?
Yeah.
We commend you for that for sure. I love that.
Oh, thank
You want to
you.
be an actress? Let me know, girl.
If they like this conversation, I like the personal essay I mentioned. I follow me on Instagram or Twitter or TikTok, and I do personal essays, I do sketches, sketch comedy that I write, act, and direct, and I also do funny characters that just kind of make fun of some of the people you see on Instagram.
Love
So yeah.
that. I love it.
Yeah.